The first time I thought I was going to die, it wasn't because of the bruises covering my body. It was because I looked into the bathroom mirror and realized I couldn't recognize the woman staring back at me anymore. My name was Sarah Collins, and for 3 long years, I lived inside a beautiful house in Chicago, Illinois, that looked like a dream from the outside but felt like a prison behind closed doors. Every morning I prayed for a miracle. Every night I wondered if I would survive until sunrise. Then one rainy afternoon, when hope had already abandoned me, the front door opened. And the last person anyone expected to see stepped inside. A man the city whispered about with fear. A mafia boss whose reputation made criminals tremble. That single moment changed my life forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change lives and everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that stay with you long after they end. People often ask why victims stay. The truth is difficult to explain unless you've lived it. My husband, Ryan Brooks, wasn't cruel when we first met. He was charming, attentive, and made me believe I had finally found someone who would protect me. Little by little, his affection turned into control. He decided what I wore, who I spoke to, and even when I could visit my parents. By the time the first slap came, I had already been isolated from everyone who loved me. He apologized afterward with flowers and tears, promising it would never happen again. I believed him because I wanted to believe that love could fix broken people. I was wrong. The months became years. Bruises healed while fresh ones appeared. My smile disappeared. Friends stopped calling because Ryan always answered my phone. My parents thought I had simply become distant. I became an expert at hiding pain with makeup, long sleeves, and fake laughter. Every excuse sounded believable enough because people usually see what they want to see. Nobody imagined the cheerful woman buying groceries was secretly counting how many days she had survived. Ryan's temper grew worse after losing money in risky business deals. Every failure became my fault. Every disappointment ended with another beating. Sometimes he would destroy photographs, dishes, or furniture before turning his anger toward me. The house echoed with fear. Even silence became terrifying because it usually meant another explosion was coming. I stopped dreaming about happiness. My only dream was making it through another day. One winter evening, after a particularly violent attack, I sat on the kitchen floor unable to stand. Blood stained my sleeve while snow fell quietly outside the window. It amazed me how peaceful the world looked while my own life was falling apart. I wanted to run, but Ryan had taken my identification, my bank cards, and every bit of confidence I once possessed. He convinced me nobody would believe my story. Eventually, I started believing that too. Everything changed because of something completely unexpected. Ryan had borrowed a huge amount of money from dangerous people without telling me. His gambling debts had become impossible to repay. I knew nothing about organized crime or the people involved. All I knew was that unfamiliar luxury cars occasionally parked outside our house, and Ryan would return from brief meetings looking terrified instead of angry. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Then came the afternoon that rewrote my future. Rain hammered against the windows while Ryan shouted because dinner wasn't ready. Another punch sent me crashing onto the hardwood floor. My vision blurred as I tried to protect my face. Suddenly, the front door opened without anyone knocking. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway. Ryan froze instantly. Standing in the doorway was Michael Romano, a man whose name carried rumors throughout Chicago. Some called him a ruthless mafia boss. Others said he followed a strict code that even criminals respected. Behind him stood several silent men dressed in dark suits. The room became so quiet that I could hear my own heartbeat. Michael looked around slowly. His eyes settled on me lying bruised on the floor. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he noticed the broken picture frames, the overturned chair, and the fresh marks on my face. His expression hardened in a way that made the air itself feel colder. Ryan began nervously explaining about missed payments, promising he would repay every dollar. Michael barely listened. His attention remained fixed on the woman trembling on the floor. For a long moment, nobody moved. Without raising his voice, Michael asked Ryan one simple question about whether he had done this to his own wife. Ryan tried laughing nervously, insisting it was a private family matter. What happened next stunned everyone. Michael stepped closer, his face filled not with rage but with disappointment. He quietly explained that owing money was one thing. Hurting someone weaker simply because you could was something entirely different. He believed power meant protecting those who couldn't defend themselves, not destroying them. Even the men standing behind him lowered their eyes. Ryan suddenly looked smaller than I had ever seen him. The man who ruled my life through fear now stood shaking before someone even more powerful. Michael ordered one of his associates to call an ambulance immediately. Another was instructed to contact a lawyer and ensure local authorities documented everything they found inside the house. Ryan protested, but nobody listened anymore. As paramedics treated my injuries, Michael handed me a business card with nothing except a phone number. He told me that after the hospital, I would never have to return to that house again if I didn't want to. Then he quietly walked away, leaving behind complete silence. For the first time in 3 years, I felt something I thought had disappeared forever. Hope. The following weeks felt unreal. I stayed at a confidential shelter where counselors helped me understand that abuse was never my fault. Doctors treated injuries I had ignored for years. A legal aid organization worked alongside investigators, using photographs, medical records, and witness statements to build a strong case against Ryan. The evidence was overwhelming. As the trial approached, fear returned. I worried Ryan would somehow manipulate the system like he had manipulated me. But this time I wasn't alone. Volunteers sat beside me. Therapists prepared me for every hearing. Complete strangers reminded me that courage doesn't mean feeling fearless. It means continuing despite fear. Ryan was ultimately convicted for multiple acts of domestic violence and related offenses. Watching the courtroom doors close behind him didn't erase my memories, but it finally ended his control over my life. Months later, I found work at a community center helping survivors rebuild their confidence. Every person who walked through those doors reminded me of the woman I used to be. Broken. Silent. Invisible. I made it my mission to ensure nobody felt alone again. One afternoon, while organizing donated clothes, I received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a short handwritten note. It simply said, "Real strength is measured by the lives you save. Keep going." There was no signature. I never saw Michael Romano again. Perhaps he disappeared back into the mysterious world people whispered about. Perhaps he never wanted recognition for what happened that rainy afternoon. Whether history judged him kindly or harshly wasn't mine to decide. What I knew was simple. On the worst day of my life, someone chose compassion over indifference. That single decision gave me another chance to live. Today my scars remain, but they no longer define me. They remind me that survival is possible. Healing is possible. Happiness is possible. The frightened woman trapped inside that house is gone. In her place stands someone stronger than she ever imagined she could become. Special request: before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Hope always wins," if you believe no one deserves to suffer in silence. If this story touched your heart, please don't leave without liking this video, sharing it to spread awareness about domestic abuse, leaving your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps these stories reach people who may desperately need hope today. Sometimes miracles don't arrive the way we expect. They don't always come wrapped in perfect circumstances or from perfect people. Sometimes they appear in the middle of the darkest storm, reminding us that even when the world seems completely silent, compassion still exists. And for anyone watching who feels trapped in fear tonight, remember this: your story is not over. The chapter filled with pain does not have to be the ending. Somewhere beyond the darkness, there is still a door waiting to open, and when it does, it might lead to the life you thought you had lost forever.